For this quick hit on Chapter 5, dealing with culture and adapting to differences, just first things first, you should be aware that you will be working with people of all different cultures and different backgrounds. And it's up to you to be aware of that so that you don't have, first of all, miscommunication. Second, so that we have success within the team. There's no rift within the team dynamic, rift within the leadership, so that we can all achieve our goals, because achieving your goals in the workplace, it bodes well for you individually. Speaking of individually, the first culture I want to focus on is the individualistic culture, meaning they place a high value on the individual. These are cultures, this individualistic culture loves the idea of individual freedom, personal achievement, self-expression. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, that sounds like us here in America, and that's exactly what we are here in the United States. We are an individualistic culture. We tend to focus on ourselves, and we are under the belief that you're responsible for yourself. If you want this job, you are responsible for doing the things necessary to get that job. You are responsible for going to the job interview. You're responsible for putting your resume together. You're responsible for doing well in the interview. No one else has that responsibility except yourself. So how does this equate to the workplace? It goes with the workplace by looking at such things as individual reviews, individual performance reviews, individual bonuses. If you succeed on certain things within your job, that in and of itself is part of the individualistic culture. So other countries like us, the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Italy, similarly, if you're an individualistic culture, you are also a low context culture. A low context culture really relies on words. They are explicitly stated. And if you're unsure of what that word explicit means, just go ahead and Google it and look it up. But think about it. In the individualistic culture, we rely on words, not necessarily nonverbals or relationships. And when we rely on these words, we want stuff said out in the open. We rely less on these nonverbals. Look at such things as contracts that you must sign when you go to work in corporate America. Everything, even contracts, some of you have signed contracts for apartment complexes. Notice how dense they are, how full of words they are. That's explicitly stated. These words are explicitly stated, meaning they are written out, they are set out, and we don't have to rely on nonverbal cues or relationships in order to understand what is written in that contract. Why? Because it's there for you, written out, set in stone. Whereas collectivistic cultures, on the other hand, they place a high value on the group. Group conformity, this idea of group harmony. And when we talk about conformity, group harmony, essentially your job is to not rock the boat of the group. This idea of tradition and loyalty. We've always done it that way, so you should do it that way. This is how we've always done it here at this company or corporation, so you should do it because that's what we've always done. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason for doing certain things. It's just because you have to do it so that we don't rock the boat here at this company or corporation. We're loyal to doing it this way. Don't embarrass the group. If you've heard that phrase before, if you step out and do something that's different than what the entire group has done or the entire culture has done, that could signal you're embarrassing us because you're not following along with what everyone else is doing. Some examples in the workplace, think about group and departmental goals or recognition for the team instead of the individual. Sometimes this occurs at big-time corporations throughout the country. But when you think about which cultures exhibit the collectivistic nature, Hispanics, Latinos, Asians, Pakistanis, all of these are collectivistic cultures. And when you talk about collectivistic cultures, they also are high context. If we looked at low context, meaning they rely specifically on words, high context then, they want to know more about relationships, more about meanings and nonverbals. So let's play a little scenario here. You're in a job interview. If you're interviewing with someone that you know is from an individualistic background or an individualistic culture, they are probably going to ask you certain questions about what did you personally do at your last job? What were your individual goals? What were your individual achievements? What did you individually do to help to succeed at that particular job? Whereas if you're interviewing with someone from a collectivistic culture, they're more likely to ask, well, how was your relationship with your boss? What was that like? How did you get along with other team members? They're going to pay attention to that particular context, those relationships, what the meanings of those relationships there. And they're also going to pay attention more so to your nonverbals to see how that plays a role or to see how that's going to go within the company or corporation. So I just wanted to quickly hit on collectivistic and individualistic cultures, but I want to see who's listening to these quick hits, so I'm going to offer you a 2-point bonus question to your discussion boards. If you can email me and tell me, looking in your textbook, understanding the difference between masculine and feminine cultures, I want you to email me the answer to this question. Do you believe the United States is more masculine or more feminine? Your textbook is going to give you an answer, but I want you to answer after knowing what both of them mean. So do you think the United States is more masculine or more feminine in terms of culture? Don't give me the textbook answer. Give me what you personally believe and tell me why. And you can just send that in an email, and you might see a couple of bonus points coming your way for this discussion board.